Praise the Lord. According to 1 year Bible reading plan day 45, we have Numbers chapter 31 to 33. Numbers chapter 31. The Lord said to Moses, "Punish the Midianites for what they did to the people of Israel. After you have done that, you will die." So Moses said to the people, "Get ready for war, so that you can attack Midian and punish them for what they did to the Lord. From each tribe of Israel, send 1,000 men to war." So 1,000 men were chosen from each tribe, a total of 12,000 men ready for battle. Moses sent them to war under the command of Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, who took charge of the sacred objects and the trumpets for giving signals. They attacked Midian as the Lord had commanded Moses and killed all the men, including the 5 kings of Midian, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba. They also killed Balaam, son of Beor. The people of Israel captured the Midianite women and children, took their cattle and their flocks, plundered all their wealth, and burned all their cities and camps. They took all the loot that they had captured, including the prisoners and the animals, and brought them to Moses and Eleazar and to the community of the people of Israel who were at the camp on the plains of Moab across the Jordan from Jericho. Moses, Eleazar, and all the other leaders of the community went out of the camp to meet the army. Moses became angry with the officers, the commanders of battalions and companies who had returned from the war. He asked them, "Why have you kept all the women alive?" Remember that it was the women who followed Balaam's instructions and at Peor led the people to be unfaithful to the Lord. That was what brought the epidemic on the Lord's people. So now kill every boy and every woman who has had relations, but keep alive for yourself all the girls and all the women who are virgins. Now all of you who have killed anyone or have touched a corpse must stay outside the camp for 7 days. On the 3rd day and on the 7th day, purify yourself and the woman you have captured. You must also purify every piece of clothing and everything made of leather, goat's hairs, or wood. Eleazar the priest said to the men who had returned from battle, "These are the regulations that the Lord has given to Moses. Everything that will not burn, such as gold, silver, bronze, iron, tin, or lead, is to be purified by passing it through fire. Everything else is to be purified by water for purification. On the 7th day, you must wash your clothes. Then you will be ritually clean and will be permitted to enter the camp." The Lord said to Moses, "You and Eleazar, together with the other leaders of the community, are to count everything that has been captured, including the prisoners and the animals. Divide what was taken into 2 equal parts, one part for the soldiers and the other part for the rest of the community. From the part that belongs to the soldiers, withhold as a tax for the Lord 1 out of every 500 prisoners, and the same proportion of the cattle, donkeys, sheep, and goats. Give them to Eleazar the priest as a special contribution to the Lord. From the part given to the rest of the people, take 1 out of the 50 prisoners and the same proportion of the cattle, donkeys, sheep, and goats. Give them to the Levites who are in charge of the Lord's tent." The plunder remaining from the spoils that the soldiers took was 675,000 sheep, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 women who were virgins. The half of the soldiers was 337,400 sheep and goats, of which 675 were the tax for the Lord, 36,000 cattle for the soldiers, of which 72 were the tax for the Lord, 30,500 donkeys for the soldiers. So Moses gave Eleazar the tax as a special contribution to the Lord, as the Lord had commanded. The share of the community was the same as the start of the soldiers: 337,400 sheep and goats, 36,000 cattle, 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 virgins. From this share, Moses took out of every 50 prisoners and animals, and as the Lord had commanded, gave them to the Levites who were in charge of the Lord's tent. Then the officers who had commanded the army went to Moses and reported, Sir, we have counted the soldiers under your command, and not one of them is missing. So we are bringing the gold ornaments, armlets, bracelets, rings, earrings, and necklaces that each of us has taken. We offer them to the Lord as a payment for our lives, so that He will protect us. Moses and Eleazar received the gold, all of which was in the form of ornaments. The total contribution of the officers weighed over 400 pounds. Those who were not officers kept that loot they had taken. So Moses and Eleazar took the gold of the tent, so that the Lord would protect the people of Israel. Numbers chapter 32. The tribes of Reuben and Gad had a lot of livestock. When they saw how suitable the land of Gezer and Gilead was for cattle, they went to Moses, Eleazar, and the other leaders of the community and said, This region which the Lord has helped the Israelites occupy, the towns of Athroth, Dibon, Gazer, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elilah, Sibmah, Nebo, and Beon, is good land for livestock, and we have so much livestock. Please give us this land as our property. Do not make us cross the Jordan River and settle there. Moses replied, Do you want to stay here while the other Israelites go to war? How dare you try to discourage the people of Israel from crossing the Jordan into the land which the Lord has given them? This is what your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land. They went as far as Eshcol Valley and saw the land, but when they returned, they discouraged the people from entering the land which the Lord had given them. The Lord became angry that day and made a promise. I swear that because they did not remain loyal to me, none of the men 20 years old or older who come out of Egypt will enter the land that I promised to Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob. This included everyone except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua, son of Nun. They remained loyal to the Lord. The Lord became angry with the people and made them wander in the wilderness 40 years until that whole generation that had displeased him was dead. And now you have taken your ancestors' place, a new generation of sinful people ready to bring down the fierce anger of the Lord on Israel again. If you people of Reuben and Gad refuse to follow him now, he will once again abandon all these people in the wilderness, and you will be responsible for this destruction. They approached Moses and said, First, allow us to build stone enclosures here for our sheep and fortified towns for our dependents. Then we will be ready to go with the other Israelites into battle and lead the attack until we have settled them in the land that will be theirs. In the meantime, our dependents can live here in the fortified towns, safe from the people of this land. We will not return to our homes until all the other Israelites have taken possession of the land assigned to them. We will not take possession of any property among them on the other side of the Jordan, because we have received our share here east of Jordan. Moses answered, If you really mean what you say, then here in the presence of the Lord get ready to go into battle. All your fighting men are to cross the Jordan, and under the command of the Lord, they are to attack our enemies until the Lord defeats them and takes possession of the land. After that you may return, because you will have fulfilled your obligation to the Lord and to the other Israelites. Then the Lord will acknowledge that this land east of the Jordan is yours. But if you do not keep your promise, I warn you that you will be sinning against the Lord. Make no mistake about it. You will be punished for your sin. So build your towns and the enclosures for your sheep, but do what you have promised. The men of Gad and Reuben said, Sir, we will do as you command. Our wives and children and our cattle and sheep will remain here in the towns of Gilead, but all of us are ready to go into battle under the Lord's command. We will cross the Jordan and fight, just as you have said. So Moses gave these orders to Eleazar, Joshua, and to other leaders of Israel. If the men of Gad and Reuben cross the Jordan ready for battle at the Lord's command, and if with their help you are able to conquer the land, then give them the land of Gilead as their property. But if they do not cross the Jordan and go into battle with you, they are to receive their share of the property in the land of Canaan as you do. The men of Gad and Reuben answered, Sir, we will do as the Lord had commanded. Under his command, we will cross into the land of Canaan and go into battle, so that we can retain our property here east of the Jordan. So Moses assigned to the tribes of Gad and Reuben, and to half the tribe of Manasseh, all the territory of King Sihon of the Amorites, and King Og of Bashan, including the towns and the country around them. The tribe of Gad rebuilt the fortified towns of Dibon, Athroth, Aroer, Athroth Shofan, Jazer, Jogbehah, Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran. The tribe of Reuben rebuilt Heshbon, Elileh, Kiriathaim, Nebo, Baal-meon. This name was changed, and Sibmah. They gave new names to the towns they rebuilt. The clan of Mashir, son of Manasseh, invaded the land of Gilead, occupied it, and drew out the Amorites who were there. So Moses gave Gilead to the clan of Mashir, and they lived there. Jair, of the tribe of Manasseh, attacked and captured some villages and named them villages of Jair. Nobah attacked and captured Kenah and its villages, and he renamed it Nobah after himself. Numbers chapter 33. The following account gives the names of the places where the Israelites set up camp after they left Egypt in their tribes under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. At the command of the Lord, Moses wrote down the name of the place each time they set up camp. The people of Israel left Egypt on the 15th day of the first month of the year, the day after the first Passover. Under the Lord's protection, they left the city of Ramesses in the full view of the Egyptians who were burying the firstborn sons that the Lord had killed. By doing this, the Lord showed that he was more powerful than the gods of Egypt. The people of Israel left Ramesses and set up camp at Succoth. Their next camp was at Etham on the edge of the desert. From there, they turned back to Pi-hahiroth, east of Baal-zephon, and camped near Migdol. They left Pi-hahiroth and passed through the Red Sea into the desert of Shur. After a 3 days' march, they camped at Marah. From there, they went to Elim, where they camped, because there were 12 springs of water and 7 palm trees there. They left Elim and camped near Gulf of Suez. Their next camp was in the desert of Sin. Then they camped at Dopka, and after that at Alush. Next was Rephidim, where there was no water for them to drink. From Rephidim to Mount Hor, they set up camp at the following places: the Sinai Desert, Kibroth Hattaavah, or Graves of Craving, Hazeroth, Rithmah, Rimmon Perez, Libnah, Rissa, Kehelta, Mount Shepher, Harada, Makheloth, Tahat, Terah, Mithka, Hashmona, Mosroth, Bein Jakin, Hor Haggigad, Jotbatha, Abrona, Esgonbir, the wilderness of Zin, that is Kadesh, and Mount Hor at the edge of the land of Edom. And they went on from the wasteland of Sinai and put up their tents in Kibroth Hattaavah. And they went on from Kibroth Hattaavah and put their tents in Hazeroth. And they went on from Hazeroth and put up their tents in Rithmah. And they went on from Rithmah and put up their tents in Rimmon Perez. And they went on from Rimmon Perez and put up their tents in Libnah. And they went on from Libnah and put up their tents in Rissa. They went on from Rissa and put up their tents in Kehelta. And they went on from Kehelta and put up their tents in Mount Shepher. And they went on from Mount Shepher and put up their tents in Haradah. And they went on from Haradah and put up their tents in Makloth. And they went on from Makloth and put up their tents in Tahath. And they went on from Tahath and put up their tents in Terah. And they went on from Terah and put up their tents in Mithka. And they went on from Mithka and put up their tents in Hashmonah. And they went on from Hashmonah and put up their tents in Moseroth. And they went on from Moseroth and put up their tents in Beneshekan. And they went on from Beneshekan and put up their tents in Hor Haggidgad. And they went on from Hor Haggidgad and put up their tents in Jotbathah. And they went on from Jotbathah and put up their tents in Abrona. And they went on from Abrona and put up their tents in Ezion-Geber. And they went on from Ezion-Geber and put up their tents in the wasteland of Sin, which is Kadesh. And they went on from Kadesh and put up their tents in Mount Hor on the edge of the land of Edom. At the command of the Lord, Aaron the priest climbed Mount Hor at the age of 123. He died there on the first day of the 5th month of the 40th year after the Israelites left Egypt. Aaron was 123 years old at the time of his death in Mount Hor. The king of Arad in the southern Canaan heard that the Israelites were coming. From Mount Hor to the plains of Moab, the Israelites set up camp at the following places: Zalmunna, Punon, Oboth, the ruins of Abarim in the territory of Moab, Dibon, Gad, Almon, Diblathaim, the Abarim mountains near Mount Nebo, and in the plains of Moab across the Jordan River from Jericho, between Beth Jeshimoth and Acacia Valley. And they went on from Zalmunna and put up their tents in Punon. And they went on from Punon and put up their tents in Oboth. And they went on from Oboth and put up their tents in Abarim at the edge of Moab. And they went on from Eim and put up their tents in Dibon Gad. And from Dibon Gad they went on and put up their tents in Almon Diblathaim. And from Almon Diblathaim they went on and put up their tents in the mountains of Abarim before Nebo. And they went on from the mountains of Abarim and put up their tents in the lowlands of Moab by Jordan at Jericho, planting their tents by side of Jordan from Beth Jeshimoth as far as Abel Shittim in the lowlands of Moab. There in the plains Moab across Jordan from Jericho, the Lord gave Moses the following instructions for Israel. When you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, you must drive out all the inhabitants of the land, destroy all their stones and metal idols and all their places of worship. Occupy the land and settle in it, because I am giving it to you. Divide the land among the various tribes and clans by drawing lots, giving a large piece of property to a large clan and a small one to a small clan. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land, those that are left will be as troublesome as the splinters in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they will fight against you. If you do not drive them out, I will destroy you, as I planned to destroy them. May the Lord bless us abundantly, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.